President Trump considering 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada starting on February 1st. For more on the administration's tariff policies, we're joined right now by Peter Navarro. He is senior advisor to the president for trade and manufacturing. And Peter, thank you for being with us tomorrow.
Becky, sorry Joe's not here. We miss him.
We do.
Get better soon.
Yeah, I'm sure he is hoping to be here, wishes he was. But, Peter, let's talk a little bit about what's going on with trade.
Sure.
This is something our audience is so tuned into, so keyed into, trying to find out what's going on. And
yeah, I was watching the show this morning, and some guy gets on and goes, tariffs are going to cause inflation. The Fed's not going to lower rates. It's like, what is that spin all about? I mean, we had the most aggressive tariff agenda in the first term, and there was zero inflation. We had absolute price stability. And tariffs don't cause inflation. The president is launching the most aggressive strategic energy dominance price. Look, what they should be talking about is what $50 barrel oil is going to do, plus DOGE and deregulation and tax cuts are going to do to bring down inflation. And what's interesting to me, Becky, is like there's never any discussion about why the president wants to do tariffs. I mean, this is Davos. How about Davos, man, talking about and confronting the reality, as President Trump has said often, the world cheats America. We have the lowest tariffs in the world, the lowest non-trade barriers. And, hey, tariffs just leveled the playing field and buried the lead. This is an important discussion to have, Becky. Tariffs are going to be a really important part of the tax cut discussion.
Because it will raise revenue?
Now we have the external revenue service coming. Mm-hmm. One of the best charts that President Trump loves to put up is one that shows where you have in 1913, after they passed the income tax, revenues go as a flat line as a percentage of tariffs. But prior to that, this was a country that prospered and grew on tariffs. So have the discussion about why we want to put tariffs on China and Mexico.
Because you want fair
Canada.
trade. You want fair trade. You don't want to feel like you are carrying.
No, not those tariffs. Those tariffs are about stopping the flow of fentanyl and contraband
from
killing Americans. Why don't we have that discussion instead of just talking about, is he going to do tariffs? Because if you don't understand the logic, then you can't answer the question.
So what you're answering part of the question, though, as it is this a negotiation at this point? The reason we've seen this flurry of executive orders signed day one. This is not signed day one. This is threatened to come down the road. Is that because you want the time to negotiate first?
Those tariffs are, if the president, it's the president's choice, not mine, not the trade teams. It's his choice. He'll make the best choice for America. He always does. But the reason why he's considering 25, and 10, or whatever it's going to be on Canada, Mexico, and China is because 300 Americans die every day, Becky. I was in the, it's a great experience yesterday. I had the privilege of speaking at the arena, at Cap One Arena. Mm-hmm. It's like, that place was full, and in a year, everybody in there would be dead, okay? That's how many people would die from Chinese fentanyl coming through Mexico and through Canada. So that's that discussion. So Davos, when you talk about those tariffs, like preface it. And then the rest of the tariff discussion, and the second to the last executive order he signed last night, I was looking at the picture, was this beautiful presidential memorandum on how he's going to approach the whole trade issue. 15 different parameters, setting up foundational studies that are going to lead to investigations and decisions by the president.
From the USTR and the Treasury Department.
Treasury, Commerce. Howard Lutnick is just a revelation in terms of how he thinks about all of this, and he's going to do a great job. So you've got the two new guys on the block bringing energy and creativity and brilliance in Howard Lutnick and Scott Bessent. You got the veterans, Jameson Greer, who was Bob Lighthizer, second in command. I love the guy. You got Kevin Hassett, who's going to play a key role navigating the tariff, tax bill, all of that stuff. You've had him on many times. Mm-hmm. The president's got a great trade team.
Let me ask, just in terms of tariffs, because there's been a lot of discussion around this. And yesterday we had Stan Druckenmiller on the show. He said he didn't want to come off as being a big fan of tariffs, being tariff man by the end of the interview. But he did say, if you're looking from his perspective has changed. If you're looking at tariffs to about 10% or so, he thinks that that is the lesser of two evils, rather than raising taxes on Americans by doing a 10% tariff that raises money from foreign countries and from companies that are operating overseas. He thinks a lot of that will get absorbed. He thinks if you go a lot beyond 10%, you're talking potentially about a different game, because then you are going to see more retaliatory pressures coming from other countries, maybe more retaliatory counter tariffs coming back at it, and he does worry that that will raise inflation. What do you say to that?
Well, statistically, a beautiful thing is that if the Trump tax cuts expire, that's going to be a $400 billion tax hike, right, which would be a shock to this system and be recessionary. If you had Druckenmiller's 10% tariff, that's about $350 to $400 billion in revenue. So you see the beauty of that in the negotiations, but that's the kind of discussion that's great to have on Squawk, but also about why the president's considering this to begin with. I mean, we are the biggest market in the world, and as I said earlier, but I'm going to say it 100 times, it's like we have the lowest tariffs in the world, the lowest non-tariff barriers, and as President Trump says, the world it just takes advantage of us. And that reality needs to be confronted, because on behalf of American workers, manufacturers, ranchers, farmers, entrepreneurs, as the presidential memorandum said yesterday, he's going to stand up for them. And the markets are going to be bullish. The economy's going to be strong. Inflation's going to be vanquished. And remember when I came on the day after election in 2016? Heads were exploding, futures were dead red down. What did I tell you? I said we were going to have a bull market. We were going to hit 25,000 on the Dow, because we were going to have deregulation, tax cuts, strategic energy dominance at low energy prices, and a fair trade policy. What happened? We had a beautiful economy.
So a couple of points. First of all, anybody who thinks these tariffs are simply negotiating tactics should probably think again, because what you are laying out is the idea that this is something that we need to have to raise revenue so that we can keep the tax cuts. There has to be a pay for some of the other things that we're looking for. So anybody who thinks tariffs are simply negotiating, maybe the 25% ones on Mexico and Canada right now are negotiating to try and stop the flow of fentanyl.
But to that point, so we don't get too far down the road, the reason why the president has the moral authority to do this is because the world's screwing us. I mean, let me be blunt here. I mean, it's not just China with all of its unfair trade practices. You just go around the world. I mean, India has the highest tariffs in the world. Europe has the VAT tax that sticks it to us, and higher tariffs. I mean, there's a reason why we don't sell any cars to Europe or Japan to speak of. I mean, the numbers, the flow of trade is so crazy.
For a long time, we've been maybe like the big brother to a lot of the world to say, yes, you can. The piggy bank, but we've also offered protections and securities.
The Davos man, big brother,
But we've also offered protections and security. Is it fair to think that it is now fair game that we are not going to protect you in the same way if you don't meet us fairly on the trading front?
Key point here, Becky. Economic security is national security. That's a foundational element of the first Trump term. And the president recognizes that if we want to help our allies, we cannot do that if we have a weak manufacturing and defense industrial base. And over time, what happens when we are the piggy bank for the world and we run these enormous trade deficits is we get weak. And when we're weak, we get war. The president doesn't want that. So that's we've come such a long way. I mean, back in 2016, when we had these discussions, it's like heads exploded when you even mentioned the word tariff or changing trade, right? But now people understand what President Trump wants to do, and it's a beautiful thing.